Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I will be teaching you how I have taught third grade writing. Now there's a huge jump from second grade to third grade. Third grade, they start testing, and writing is one of my favorite subjects because you can have any topic with writing. And in today's video, I'm gonna teach you how to teach third grade writing for narrative, opinion, and informational. All three. I created my own writing system because I wanted something to flow very smoothly, to have very little prep, something that the kids can memorize and score really well on their writing for the SBAC. The product I will be using is in my TPT store. Again, it is for opinion, narrative, and informational. A whole year of writing, and I use the same materials over and over and over. The only thing that changes are the source pages. Right now, I don't have any source pages. Throughout the year, I will be adding source pages to my TPT store as well. So let's jump into the video. First, I want to go day by day. Typically, each writing I do takes 7 days, 1.5 weeks, Monday through Friday. Actually, takes about 2 school weeks. So that means about 10 days, but you can shorten it or expand it as much as you need. I chose to do 2 weeks per writing, so 2 writings per month, because it is a lot of chunking and chewing. I want to give students enough time to finish. All right, let's jump into it. We are going to start with narrative writing. So I recommend before you even start teaching this, you need to go over each section of the writing wall here. Now this is the printable that's in my TPT store. It changes with each writing, but it changes very slightly. It's very simplistic. It's printable pages, a lot easier for teachers just to print and go and get going. So again, before you teach any of this, you need to go over with your students what a hook is, what is a setting, what's a protagonist, and what's an introduction, problem, wish, etc., etc. So that's what I would do first. So let's pretend you already gained all that background knowledge with your students and now you're ready to write your first writing. Day 1 in narrative writing, we are going to introduce a source page and a prompt. So I would first begin by reading the prompt with the students. What is the prompt asking and what kind of writing are we gonna focus on? I'm just gonna use this source pages as examples. Day 1 is when you read the prompt, ask what the prompt is asking, and then you're gonna dive into your source page. So what I do is I have a giant circle map at the front of my board, at the front of my room. I create it out of butcher paper and I create a giant circle map. And what students do is, here's their source page, they're going to number the paragraphs. So you need to have your students number the paragraphs. In order to do that, you would say, what I do is, all right, when I say paragraph 1, I'm gonna pull a stick and I need that student to tell me the first 3 words in that paragraph. So for example, paragraph 1, our trash is. Write 1, circle, number of paragraphs. Again, paragraph 2, April 22nd is. Perfect. Paragraph 3, you can reduce. Paragraph 4, you can recycle, etc., etc., until you're done numbering all the paragraphs. Then we're going to jump into our source page or our circle map. We're gonna jump into our circle map. Now, this is in my TPT store. I created double-sided, so you don't have to waste your time having students draw a circle map. Literally, it takes forever, especially for third grade. So I just cut the corner and made this. Here's a spot for their name. Here's a spot to write their score down here, and I will get into that soon. So what you do for day 1 is, it's a I do. I'm gonna do paragraph 1, thinking out loud. I usually go sentence by sentence and I ask myself, does this pertain to our topic? Our topic is taking care of our planet. So I'm gonna find details and underline details that talk about helping our planet. All right, paragraph 2 is a we do, and I pull sticks for that. And I ask students again, going sentence by sentence, is this what we should underline? After we go through each paragraph, I then write each detail in the circle map. For narratives, for every type of writing, I'm really explaining to students that you need to cite where the information is from, and that's why it's important to number our paragraphs. So underneath each detail, we put in parentheses, paragraph 1, source 1. but actually down in here, you would write source 1. Then paragraph 3, I would do partner work. So students are working together throughout that paragraph, finding details, and then I pull sticks, write it in our circle map. And lastly, paragraph 4, now this is the assessment. This is the quick check that you're going to do and give the student a grade to make sure they master the skill of finding details. So paragraph 4, students are going to do this on their own independently. They're going to write their own detail in the circle map, but they need to circle it in red. The reason why they need to circle it in red is because it's easy for the teacher to find and grade. And I give this out of 10 points. It's gonna be 10 points, 5 and 5 for 10 points. You can grade however you'd like, that's just how I do it. All right, so that's day 1, easy. Day 2, students are gonna take out their circle map, students are gonna take out their source page, and we're gonna do the same thing we did for day 1 with day 2. Same exact thing. Students are gonna find their own detail in that last paragraph for the assessment, circle it in red. They're gonna turn this in, and this is what I grade and hand back. I always leave notes on the pages if they didn't do something right, if they forgot to cite where they got the information from, but citing is gonna be more important with the other types of writing. All right, now we are in day 3. Day 3 is when we introduce our graphic organizer. This is a graphic organizer that comes in the pack as well. So what I have students do is each section that we're working on for the day, they're gonna outline it in the color. So we're first gonna look at the very top of the page, and it says type of writing. So we're gonna write narrative writing on top because we're working on narrative. We're gonna write our topic, and the topic for this example is Earth Day. And again, writing's so much fun because you can have any topic your heart desires. And then lastly, name. So day 3, we're gonna be working on our introductory paragraph. So what I have students do is I give them a couple, literally a minute, to outline in red. They're gonna outline this very top bar in red. Now, if you can see here, you can see how it is, this very top bar is in red. We're mimicking this, and this is our writing wall that stays up all year, or throughout the whole unit that you're working on narrative. So I'm gonna push you back over here and we're gonna discuss. All right, so this is how you would want your writing wall set up in your classroom, and hopefully you can hear me and see me fine. All right, so again, we're working on our red paragraph, and our red paragraph is on the very top of our graphic organizer as well. All right, so what I do, and again, you already pre-taught what all of these sections mean. So what I do is I pull a stick and I say, student, what's the first thing we need in our introductory paragraph, our red paragraph? What is the first thing we need? And they can either look at the writing wall, they can memorize it. The goal is to have them memorize it. And they'll say, a hook. Perfect. I'm like, that is awesome. So what is a good idea for a hook? And I've taught my students with the background knowledge before even doing this that a good hook would be an onomatopoeia. And that's a bam, wham, like a sound to get the reader's attention, which is why I drew a hook with a fish, because we're hooking the reader in. Okay, so anyways, we write our hook, I pull a stick, I'm like, excellent idea. So what I do is under my projector, I have this underneath the projector and I'm writing and the students are copying. Now, sometimes I might underline something and leave it blank, and I say, okay, this blank is for you to write your own hook, or this blank is for you to write your own onomatopoeia. Just giving the students the option to either copy you or do their own is a good idea because it's allowing students to take leadership in their learning. All right, so next, I go, perfect. What's the next thing we need to focus on? We have our hook, now what's the next thing? Pull a stick, setting. Perfect, so let's describe where the story is taking place. Talk about it, write it down, students copy. Pull a stick, what's the next thing we need to focus on? Our protagonist. Now, our protagonist needs to be described. That's why I have a bow here. So you need to tell your students that you need to describe what the protagonist looks like. What I do in the beginning of the year for this is we read a story and we talk about the students' physical traits and emotional traits. So the traits we can't see and the traits we can see. And that's gonna help them describe the character with the bow. Next, we're gonna introduce, then I pull a stick. Now we're going to introduce the problem or wish, because in a narrative, there's either a problem or the protagonist has a wish they want to have made. So maybe in our writing would be, the protagonist is Cindy and she wishes that she can find a way to save animals on Earth Day. I have no idea, you guys, I'm making this up. Okay, so anyways, red paragraph is done. We copy it all here. Awesome. So now we're gonna jump into our orange paragraph. So this is day 4. Day 4 is our orange paragraph. We are looking at our orange section of our writing wall. All right, and again, you're going to front load all of these terms before you even jump into this. So we're gonna front load what a transitional phrase is, dialogue and elaboration. Excellent. Like literally, this takes time to teach. All right, so we're gonna start with our transitional phrase. So what I do is I have like a lesson and we talk about different transitional phrases, and I have a poster of that on our wall. And I pull a stick and I go, student, what's a good transitional phrase for our first body paragraph of our essay? All right, at this time, I have students hand back their flow maps. Or at this time, students get handed back their circle map. Now, on their circle map, they have their red detail circled, that's from the previous days, and there's a score. Now, what we do here is we need to circle details that are gonna pertain to our topic that we're writing about. So we're writing about Earth Day in this example. So we're gonna look at our circle map before we even start our orange paragraph, and we're gonna say, okay, you guys, we need to find a good detail to discuss for our orange paragraph, okay? We need a detail to talk about for our orange paragraph. So we're gonna look at our circle map, and I have a giant one in my room, and I say, take out your orange marker. And they take it out, and I go, okay, go to source 1 circle map, which they should put source 1 down here so they know. And I tell them, circle this detail in orange. They all do it. Then I say take out their green paragraph, and I say take out, and I say circle this detail on the other side, maybe source 2, circle it. Now, while we're doing that, you're discussing what makes a good detail to write about, you know what I mean? And teaching them why we circle this detail, because it's very descriptive or it's easy to write about. And then blue is what they do on their own. So they're gonna take out blue and they're gonna circle any detail they want on any circle map, any that they want on any circle map, and they're gonna circle in blue. Anything their heart desires. And then that's when I like walk around and I double check, and it doesn't take too long. I give about 3 minutes to find a detail, circle it, and I look and check and it's all good. So that's that. Now we're ready to write back with our graphic organizer. So here's the red, or here's orange, and I'm gonna say, what's a good transitional phrase? Pull a stick, write it down. Dialogue. This takes some time to teach and review, just a heads up. Even with my 5th graders, I have to do it. That's why there's boxes here like this. So we need to make sure we have a transitional phrase and part of our story. This next box needs to have some sort of dialogue. Discuss it with the class, write it in here. And then this section is elaboration. That takes some time to teach and review as well. So then elaboration goes down here. There's also a back side, so print this double-sided so students can move to the back and continue to write so they don't lose track. Because some students write a lot and some students just write a little bit. Awesome, so once our orange paragraph is done, we're gonna move on to our green paragraph. Same thing for green. The students need to have a detail from our circle map to write about. There needs to be a detail from our circle map to write about. That's why we circled it in green. We need to add this detail in green somewhere in here. Same with orange and same with blue. Now, blue paragraph students are doing all on their own, and that's your assessment. You're assessing a formative check if they got this correct. Now in their blue, they're gonna do it all on their own, and I give students about 10-15 minutes to do this. It takes some time, especially in the beginning. So then they turn this in. They turn it in after they're done with their blue paragraph. And right down here, I wrote a spot for you to write the score. And I usually make this out of 10 points. And I'm checking to see if they have a transitional phrase, if they have dialogue, if they have elaboration, and if they have a detail from their circle map. Again, that's why we circle it in blue. They need to have that detail in their circle map. All right, now it is day 5. And day 5 is the easiest day, one of the easiest days. So on day 5, we are focusing on our pink paragraph. They're gonna outline this in pink, and we're gonna focus on our pink paragraph. Now, we need a transitional phrase. We need to discuss what lesson was learned with the problem or even with the wish. There's gonna be a lesson learned, like what happened, what was the result of our story, like what happened at the end of the story. And then we're gonna elaborate more to end our story. So again, the same way I taught this red paragraph, I would teach the same with pink. I leave a lot of blanks in our intro and in our pink paragraph because I want students to add their own flair to it. So I would say transitional phrase, and then when we talk about the lesson learned, I might leave a lot of blanks and say you guys can add whatever you want, add your own details. And the elaboration is really fun too. And then they're going to begin their writing finals. It's so much harder for 3rd graders because they've never really done this before. For the writing final, all that means is you put a assignment on Google Classroom, and the students are going to indent and type each paragraph in here. Now, after they complete this blue paragraph, they turn it in, you hand it back with any notes that you need from them. You may even want to pull them and discuss like, hey, that's not proper dialogue, or you're missing the dialogue, or whatever. So they're gonna spend 2 to 3 days. That's why it takes me 2 weeks, because I like to give my class time. And they're gonna type all of this out, and they're going to turn it into Google Classroom. After they are done turning it into Google Classroom, they're gonna work on their writing cover. And that's their favorite part. It's the best part, in my opinion. It's really fun. And what I do is I just give them a blank piece of paper. Blank piece of computer paper, and the students are gonna create a writing cover about their story. And it's so fun, and they can draw, color, do so much with it. And they're gonna give me a title and their name, and they're gonna draw me a cover for it. So after they're done with their cover, they need to turn it in. Now this is what I tell them to turn in. They need to turn in their cover, their foldable, their graphic organizer foldable, their circle map, their source page. And they need to turn it in, and I have a teacher's assistant, and they turn it into the teacher's assistant, and the teacher assistant paper clips it. Then I am ready to grade. So I actually print out all of my students' writing work because it's like such an accomplishment that they can do all this, and I know the parents would love to see it. So I print it out and I grade it. While I grade, I am looking at this rubric. Now, this rubric is also editable in my product, so have fun with it. Really, just whatever you want to test them on and assess them on, go for it. But for me, it's 2 up, and it's a narrative rubric, and I am grading them on production. So are all the resources gathered? Is the writing cover complete? Is it turned in on time? Can you see like some frustration with the turning in on time? Okay. Is the paper typed 1 page with proper indents and spaces? Now I recommend making sure students stay one page. It is very frustrating to print all these pages out and trying to keep track of everything. So just tell them 1 page. And again, you have to teach them how to indent and type. And when they do type their papers, I have them type in the colored font. So for the red paragraph, they're gonna type in red. In their orange paragraph, they're gonna type in blue. And it just keeps it more organized and fun. The next part is grammar, and I'm just making sure they have the correct grammar and dialogue section. And I leave a space for notes. And the blue paragraph is where the chunkiest part of the grade is coming from. So it says blue paragraph, paragraph 4, and that's the paragraph they did completely on their own, assessing them on their transitional phrase. Do they have a transitional phrase? Do they have dialogue? Do they have elaboration? And then this is their notes, and the total goes down here. With my 5th grade, I did each writing out of 25 points. It's pretty chunky, but I had some good writings. I'm missing the classroom so much. Yeah, and then I staple it all on top, and it gets turned in. And before we start on our next writing, students look over it and we go over it together, like what did they do wrong. And more times than not, I am telling you, more times than not, they're not paying attention to each box of what they need. So I have a lot of students not doing dialogue, and it's like, look at the writing wall. That's why you're missing dialogue. There needs to be dialogue. Bam! And that's it. So that's for narrative. In the same process, you're gonna do for each type of writing. It is very simplistic and easy. Okay, you guys, now we're diving into opinion writing. It's gonna be the exact same thing basically, but there's just different elements that we're gonna focus on instead. So again, day one, you're gonna do a circle map with a source. You're gonna read the prompt, you're gonna find details, underline, the same thing you did. You're gonna just keep doing, but with different prompts. So again, day one, circle map, topic, circle your own detail in red for assessment. Day two, you're gonna do the same thing again on the back. Day two, same thing, turn it in, grade. Day three, we're gonna work on our red paragraph. Again, you're gonna give this to your students. They're gonna outline in red. On the top, they're gonna put the type of writing, and now we're working on opinion. They're gonna do the topic, and one of the topics that we did was for Halloween time, we did, would a bat make a good pet? The topic is, would a bat make a good pet? And the name. Now for our red paragraph, let's jump on over to our opinion writing wall. And as you guys can tell, it looks very similar to our last writing wall. It looks very, very similar because it has a lot of the same elements. So we still have a hook. Now, the thing that's different is our thesis, or we need to define our topic. So what I have students do is they take out their source page, and with their partner, they're gonna look through the source page and find a good definition of our topic. So for example, would a bat make a good pet? They're gonna look through their source page with their partner and find any details that give the definition of what a bat is. And we're gonna use that for this section up here. Again, I'm writing under the underhead, they're copying me. Maybe they wanna do their own type of onomatopoeia for this. And the onomatopoeia is really fun. And then we have our thesis. Now you have to teach students what a thesis is, and you have to teach students what a definition is. But for a thesis, it just means we're gonna list our reasons. Reasons. So when you get to this point, that's when you need to take your colors out, and we're going to circle all of the reasons in the different colors. So for example, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna say, take out your orange crayon, and we're gonna circle in source one, bats eat bugs. Everyone's gonna circle it, and you're gonna label the orange R1. So they know it's reason one, we're gonna label it R1. Just like that. That's what we would typically do. Then I would say, all right, you guys take out your green. Let's find another reason why a bat would not make a good pet. Let's find one in our circle map. So the students are gonna search their circle map. Maybe someone will raise their hand and it says, bats sleep at night. So that would be our reason two. They're gonna circle it in green and do reason two. Then for their blue paragraph, in their blue colored, they're going to find their own reason why their bat would not make a good pet. So they're finding their own reason. I'm gonna be walking around the room, checking students' work, asking if they need any help, and supporting them in that way. Then we are ready to list our reasons. So it's just a little bit out of order at this point. We're just circling our reasons first, and then we're going into this. Know that our thesis is just our list of reasons. So our reason one was bats eat bugs. Reason two, comma, is going to be bats stay up late at night. All right, reason three, they're doing on their own, they're circling it, and they're gonna list that out. Now, the next day we're gonna focus on all three of our body paragraphs. So the only thing that's different is students are still choosing a transitional phrase, and then they're going to list their reason. So for example, with opinion writing, we would say, first of all, bats eat bugs. Then we're gonna move to evidence. You need to teach students how to find evidence. And that's why it's important when they do their circle map, they need to cite where they got their information from. So for this orange paragraph down here, they would have eat bugs, and then they would have source 1, paragraph 2. So for their evidence, they're gonna say, I found this information in source 1, paragraph 2. Easy. Again, I am writing all of this in our orange paragraph of our foldable underneath the overhead. And then lastly, we're gonna elaborate. So elaboration just means they're gonna talk about it more. So why is eating bugs make a bat not a good pet? It's gross that bats eat bugs because they'll bring bugs into the house. I have no idea. But we're just adding more elaboration and details here. Same thing for our blue paragraph. Sorry, this is for our next writing. I just had it covered up. I forgot to print these pages out. But it's very systematic. Now for our green paragraph, we're gonna do the same thing. Green paragraph is reason 2. So second of all, bats would not make a good pet because they sleep during the day and are awake at night. I found this piece of evidence in source 2, paragraph 5. The reason why bats would not be a good pet, because I sleep during the night, but they're awake at night, so they're gonna keep me up. Something like that. And then blue paragraph, they're doing on their own. Again, they're copying. Maybe they wanna add their own elaboration, so I would actually leave this blank, this box blank, and they can add their own elaboration to that. Again, you're just chunking and chewing. And now for the blue, is their own reason, and I double checked the reason to make sure it was, legit. It wasn't something just not even making sense. And they're gonna say, lastly, and they're doing this all by themselves. This blue paragraph is all by themselves. They turn this in and they give a score. Maybe I'll pull them back, discuss what they didn't do right. Maybe I'll have writing groups or something, but their score's down here, and I usually do this out of 10 points as well. I'm making sure they have a transitional phrase. Sorry for the car horn, but I'm gonna continue. We're making sure they have a transitional phrase. We're making sure they have a reason. We're making sure they have evidence, and they need to make sure they are citing exactly where they're finding their evidence. Source 2, paragraph 5. And then lastly, they're going to elaborate. I'm grading on that back, handing it back, like I said. All right, day 5 at this point we're working on our pink paragraph. And what's different with our pink paragraph is, all right, so I forgot to change the pink paragraph out, but the only thing that changed was my opinion is and because in your list of reasons. This is when I pull 6 and I say, what's a good transitional phrase to finish our essay? In conclusion, comma, my opinion is, what is our opinion in this writing since it's an opinion rating? Bats would not make a good pet. Because, and we're just gonna relist our reasons from before. Reason 1 was they eat bugs. Reason 2 is they're awake during the night. And reason 3 is whatever they chose. And that's how we end our essay. And they write it in here. And again, this is when they begin their final by typing out their whole essay. And I'm making sure that they fix the errors they made here when they turn it in. So just like before with the narrative, they're gonna turn in their source, circle map, foldable, graphic organizer, and then I have their opinion writing rubric. And again, this is editable if you do want to edit it, but I am looking to see if they have all resources gathered, the writing cover complete, turned in on time, paper typed 1 page, same as before. Grammar, same thing. Blue paragraph, paragraph 4. I'm making sure they have a transitional phrase. I'm making sure they have their reason, their evidence, and their elaboration. And again, I give them an opportunity to fix this after I see what they do here. I put this out of 25 points, but that's just what worked for me. And then they work on their writing cover, they type everything out, and they turn it in. And that's their grade. All right, you guys, so now we are doing our last type of writing, which is informational writing. Again, you're gonna do the same exact setup, it's just we're focusing on different parts of our writing wall. All right, you guys, so we are getting into our informational writing. Here's our informational wall setup, and it's very, very similar to reasons. All right, Let's do it again. Day 1, they're gonna read source 1. They're gonna do their own for a formative assessment in red. Then day 2, they're gonna do the same thing on the back, formative assessment in red again. They're gonna turn it in, you're gonna hand it back with a score. Now it's very important again that they need to cite where their evidence is from. So they need to make sure they're telling you what source it's in and what paragraph it's in. That's why it's important to number your paragraphs. Day 3, we're gonna be focusing on our red paragraph. Again, same thing. Now here we have type of writing. This is informational, and you're gonna have a whole lesson on what informational writing is. Topic. What's a topic I did? Can't remember. I think we did an informational writing about Thomas Edison because we were reading about Thomas Edison. So Thomas Edison, their name. So let's look at our writing wall and let's see what changed from our last writing, which isn't much. And I typically teach narrative, opinion, and then informational. So we have our hook. I pull a stick. What would be a good hook? What would be a good onomatopoeia? And what I also would say here is, what's a fancy word for a hook? Like, what's a really fancy word we can use for our hook? And they would say onomatopoeia. What's an example of that? So definition of topic again. This is when I give students time. They're going to read through their source page and they're going to find a good definition of who Thomas Edison was. And again, I'm writing it, they're copying it. And then our thesis, we need to list our details. This here is when we're gonna start circling our details on our circle maps. Just like we did with our opinion writing, we're gonna be doing it for our informational writing. And instead of finding reasons, we're gonna be finding details. Very simplistic. So I would say, all right, you guys get out your orange marker and let's find a good detail about Thomas Edison, who he was. So they're gonna circle and they're gonna write D1. Same with green, D2, and the blue is gonna be on their own. They're gonna find their own detail about Thomas Edison. I'm gonna walk around the room and I'm gonna formally assess them to make sure they're on the right track. And this may be it for our day. So let's say day 4, I'm gonna move on to our body paragraph. So for our body paragraphs, we need a transitional phrase. I pull a stick and I say, what's a good transitional phrase? First. And then we have our detail 1. Our evidence according to source 2, paragraph 1, blah, and we're gonna elaborate and add some details. Same thing for our green paragraph, following off this, and they're copying off this, writing it in here. They're literally matching each section to each section. And then they're gonna do their blue paragraph on their own. They're gonna write it in here. They're gonna turn this in, you're gonna give it a score, maybe pull small groups, maybe pull individual students, and then you're gonna hand it back and they're gonna make the edits with their final copy. Day 5, I believe, we're gonna be focusing on our pink paragraph, our conclusion paragraph. Okay, not much has changed at all with our pink paragraph. So we still have our transitional phrase, and I would pull a stick. What's a good transitional phrase to end our essay for our pink paragraph, our conclusion? In conclusion. We're gonna list our details again. So Thomas Edison was a great inventor. He was hardworking. Detail 3, whatever it was. And then we're gonna end our essay with a question or statement. Now this portion right here, I leave blank and students are gonna write it in themselves and I have them share, and it's really fun what they choose. Maybe a question would be like, are you a great inventor like Thomas Edison? Was Thomas Edison a great inventor? Or a statement, Thomas Edison allowed us to have a bunch of inventions. I don't know, I'm just throwing things on top of my head. Then they're going to begin typing their final in Google Classroom. They're gonna begin doing their cover, and then they're gonna turn everything in, and then I grade with the rubric. Again, this rubric is editable. If you don't like what I have, you can put in your own. So we have student name. I am still grading them on the same type of production. Sources, writing cover, turned in on time, paper typed, all of that. I'm grading them on their grammar, and I'm grading them on their bloom paragraph. Do they have a transitional phrase? Do they have a detail? Do they have evidence? And do they have elaboration? And then I turn it in. And again, I grade that out of 25 points. Again, if you guys want to purchase, the link will be down below in the description. I have a whole pack that you can buy for the whole year, and all you have to do is keep printing the pages out and practice, practice, practice. So hopefully you guys like this video. Let me know what kind of writing prompts you guys are thinking about for each one, and I can work on those as well. But if you have any questions, you can leave them down below or in my TPT store. Just a couple problems I experienced with my third graders is they do need help indenting and typing. So you will probably have to spend time doing that and showing them how to do that. But other than that, it was really good and just turning in on time. And you can either have students have individual writing folders where they could put all their writing into. I just had students have to-do folders. So they would put all their paper that needs to be turned in and worked on in that to-do folder. And that suffices as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video.